In this chapter, we have been working on writing linear equations. We started off with given the slope and intercept. Easy enough. Then we went on to slope and point on the line, where we had to calculate our y-intercept b before we could write the equation. In our next lesson, we're going to be given 2 points on the line, so we need to do several things. We'll start off by finding the slope. From there, we'll find our y-intercept, and lastly, we can then write the line. Here are those steps that I was referring to. We'll find the slope using our slope formula. We'll find the y-intercept by taking that slope and one of the 2 points, the x and the y of one of the ordered pairs, and calculating and finding our y-intercept. And lastly, we'll write the equation. Let's get started with our first example. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points 1, 6, and 3, negative 4. Step 1 tells us we have to find our slope, so we're going to refer back to slope formula, which we're familiar with. We're going to replace all of those coordinates. So I'm going to have negative 4 minus 6 over 3 minus 1. Add the opposite, I'll get negative 10 over 2, which simplifies to negative 5. My slope is negative 5. Now to the second step. Let's find our y-intercept. I'm going to pick the first point. So we go to our model once again, y is equal to mx plus b. We'll substitute in 6 for y. We know our slope is negative 5. We know x is 1. And we're solving for b. We'll simplify. We'll add. And we'll get b is equal to 11. Let's write that equation. Y is equal to negative 5x plus 11. Let's try another couple of examples. Start off by finding your slope. Negative 3 minus 3 over 4 minus 5. Again, our rule says to add the opposite. I've got negative 6 over negative 1. Simplifies to 6. M is equal to 6. Choose a point. I'll pick the first. I have 3 is equal to 6 times 5 plus b. Simplify. Isolate your variable. B is equal to negative 27. The equation of this line is y is equal to 6x minus 27. On to another problem. Use the slope formula again. Negative 2 minus 4 over 1 minus 2. Add the opposite. That gives me negative 6 over negative 1 again, which gives me a slope of 6. It doesn't matter which point I choose because the y-intercept will be the same. I'll have 4 is equal to 6 times 2 plus b. Simplify by multiplying. Then subtract to isolate b. I get b is equal to negative 8. To write the equation, y is equal to 6x minus 8. Here's one more on this slide. I'd like you to set that up and try that one on your own, and we'll do that one in our session. Now that we know how to write equations 3 different ways, we're going to talk about lines that are perpendicular. Well, perpendicular lines form right angles, and they have a unique relationship with their slopes. Their slopes are what we call negative reciprocals or opposite reciprocals. You'll change the sign and flip on the slope to get the slope of the perpendicular line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and find the slope of the given line. And in this given line, the slope is negative 3. Now, the slope of a perpendicular line, now this is my symbol for perpendicular, it's this upside down T, because this forms the right angles. The slope of a perpendicular line is going to be the opposite in sign and the reciprocal or the flipping. So it's going to be a positive 1/3. The slope in the given line here is 4. The slope of that perpendicular line is going to change the sign. It's going to be negative. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Next one, identify the slope of the given line. That's 2/5. The slope of that line that's perpendicular will be change of sign. That's going to be negative. And the reciprocal is 5/2. One last practice problem. The slope of this given line is a negative 1/3. I'm going to change the sign and flip it. That's going to be a positive 3. So we need to be able to identify a slope and then give the positive reciprocal. Now, we may be asked to find the new line of the perpendicular line, but in this first activity, let's just look at the slopes and identify the slopes and talk about which ones are opposite reciprocals. So you're looking at change, and some of them are just reciprocals and some of them are just change of sign, but we need both. So as I'm looking across, I have 1/5, 5, -5, and a positive 5. So the two that are perpendicular would be 1/5, change the sign to make it negative, and the reciprocal 1/5 is 5. Let's just illustrate the graph of these lines. I'm going to start by graphing 2. Then I'm going to go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to extend that down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is my first line. My line, in this case A. Now we have to graph line C, and it starts at the y-intercept 1, and it's counting down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. And then we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. If we connect these points, we're going to see that they form right angles here. So they are perpendicular. Now they ask us another question. Which of these lines in A, B, C, and D are parallel, and explain? Well, hopefully you see that line B and line D have the same slope, so therefore they are parallel. What happens when we're given a line and we're asked to find the line that's perpendicular? We start off again by identifying the slope of the given line. That's a negative 1/3. That means the slope of a perpendicular line will be a positive 3. Change the sign and flip the negative reciprocal. So now we're going to find the y-intercept of this line. 4 is equal to 3 times -2 plus b. 4 is equal to -6 plus b. Let's add 6 to both sides, and our y-intercept will be 10. So to write the equation that is perpendicular to -1/3 x plus 7, will be y is equal to, make sure you take the new slope and the new intercept. And these two lines are perpendicular because their slopes are negative reciprocals. And we'll do more problems like that. But as I said, every day I was going to do a review topic, and today's review topic is rewriting literal equations and formulas. And our goal is to isolate a particular variable. In my first one, they want us to solve for x. So I'm going to be doing some inverse operations. I'm going to be subtracting the b and adding the c. So I'll have ax is equal to d minus b plus c. I did that in one step just because it was just easy enough to do those inverses. And now to get x by itself, I'll divide everything by a. And what does my final equation look like? X is equal to d minus b plus c divided by a. We did this with the formulas before where we solved for b in this case. I want to get b by itself. I'll start by multiplying both sides by 2. That'll give me 2a is equal to base times height. To get b by itself, let's divide everything by h. And what does my final equation look like? B is equal to 2a divided by h. And we said a lot of what we were doing were helping us to prepare for rewriting equations in function form. Let's solve for y. We'll start by adding 2x to both sides. So I'll have 4y is equal to 2x plus 20. And then we'll divide all terms by 4. And the end result will be y is equal to 1/2 times x plus 5. And there's our quick review of literal equations and formulas.